It's another warm day, but a cold front is coming through. I'll show you who could see some showers and when temperatures will drop into the 30s.
Hubert Davis's future. UNC is weighing its options after a disappointing season for the Tar Heels. The decision the university is facing after another early NCAA tournament exit. Deadly runway crash. A pilot and co-pilot are dead and dozens of passengers are injured.
Stop.
What we're hearing from air traffic control recordings the moment the plane hit a fire truck as it was landing in LaGuardia.
Now at noon, a cold front is crossing our area right now, but only part of the viewing area is likely to see rain. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
I'm Chris Levingood. We appreciate you joining us here this noon at WRAL News. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is out on the WRAL weather patio with a look at who has the best chance to see showers. And a pretty nice day outside, Elizabeth.
It is. And so you see we're set up here on the patio, confident enough that we're not going to see any rain right here in the triangle. You can see that cold front sliding eastward. Definitely a little bit of cloud cover associated with it, but just a little bit. As I look around here, I would call it partly cloudy. There's a lot of high, thin cloud cover, so the sun's not too strong, which is really nice. Notice that the rain just ended about the time it hit the Virginia line. As it slides eastward, it may end up stalling closer to the coast and producing a little bit of scattered light rain there. Let's take a look at Futurecast, and we kick things off right here at lunchtime with a little bit of cloud cover. We'll walk it through the afternoon. At 5 o'clock, we see in our northeastern counties, not really in our viewing area, but northeastern North Carolina, a little bit of rain that pops up. Our previous run of the model had a little rain chance, maybe around Goldsboro or Clinton, and now it's taken that all the way to the east, really. So I think pretty much we're all going to be dry. If anything happens, it's likely to be south and east, mainly east of the I-95 corridor. The gardens are pretty right now. I was here at the end of last week just watching, looking. I'm like, are there any azaleas blooming out there? And yes, there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can count 6 of them where I can see. So it is odd. As a matter of fact, I see some guests walking through to take a peek. So our gardens get really busy when the azaleas are blooming, and I would say any time from now through the next 2 or 3 weeks is a great time to visit. It's 78 degrees. Our wind is out of the northeast, so that means our front has come through. It'll be breezy this afternoon with temperatures, with winds gusting at 25 to maybe 30 miles per hour. So we do have high fire danger this afternoon for the county shaded in yellow from the triangle area westward. Our temperatures will start to fall. We're in the upper 70s now, and we'll drop it on down to around 60 degrees by 8 p.m. But we do have some temperatures in the 30s in our forecast. 3 mornings, as a matter of fact. I'll show you which ones coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. The future of UNC basketball hangs in the balance. Following the Tar Heels' disappointing early exit from the NCAA tournament, head coach Hubert Davis has been on the hot seat, raising questions about whether he should be fired. WRAL Sean Gallagher is live on campus at Chapel Hill. And Sean, what's the mood like there on campus?
Well, it's a lot of disappointment. You'd think it would be the first day back from spring break, but no, that loss from last week still burning. Losing that game to VCU, a 19-point blown lead in the second half, just still hurts. But the university brass does tell WRAL they are reviewing the team, evaluating it, but a decision not imminent. However, we do know Davis's weekly radio show scheduled for tonight has been postponed. Davis, you may remember, handpicked successor of Roy Williams 5 years ago. He still has 4 years left on his contract, but short of the title game run in 2022, it's a tenure marred by mediocrity. Of the 4 trips to the NCAA tournament in the last 5 seasons, UNC was only ranked higher than a 6th seed once, and they've lost in the first round in back-to-back seasons. So for a university defined by basketball, it simply doesn't cut it. And WRAL sports reporter Brian Murphy tells me signs are pointing to a possible shakeup.
North Carolina is not meeting their own historical standards. They're also not meeting the standards that are being set by other programs in college basketball. And so you're at a place where good just isn't good enough.
So UNC's steeped in tradition and tight bonds. For the last 70 years, every coach of UNC has had some sort of crossover with the arena's namesake, Dean Smith. But should the university move on from Davis, it would be one of the hottest positions in college basketball. And we do know that the university is capable of making a big splash. We are less than 2 years removed from them signing Bill Belichick as the head coach of the football team. In Chapel Hill, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Sean, thank you. Be sure to watch our evening newscast starting at 4 p.m. for full coverage of Coach Hubert Davis and the future of the UNC men's basketball program.
New at noon, Garner Road and East Tryon Road in Raleigh are still closed after a truck hit a woman. This happened just after 9 at the intersection of Garner Road and East Tryon Road. And police say that a pickup truck hit that woman while she was jogging. First responders managed to pull her from beneath the truck within about 30 minutes. But at this time, we don't know how serious her injuries are. At last check, no word on whether the driver will face charges. Also new this hour, the Moore County Sheriff's Office identified the man who a deputy killed Saturday night. Deputies say 52-year-old Harvey Hardy shot at a car on Carthage Street in Cameron. No one in the car was injured, but when a deputy found Hardy, he ran away, according to them. That's when they say Hardy fired his gun and a deputy returned fire, shooting and killing him. The deputy was not injured, and the SBI is investigating. That's standard practice after a shooting involving a law enforcement officer.
A portion of Kildare Farm Road in Cary is closed through the evening for an emergency water line repair. The road is closed between Lockmere Drive and Glen Echo Lane. The repair work started at 10. It's expected to last 10 to 12 hours. So that means the closure could be in place through at least 8 tonight. Drivers are asked to use Lockmere Drive for detours.
South Wilmington Street in downtown Raleigh is back open after a gas leak. That happened around 1 a.m. Raleigh firefighters responded when this happened, and at the time, we're still trying to get more information to learn what exactly caused that gas leak. The man accused of murdering 3 people in Robeson County is now in custody.
27-year-old Ethan Spaulding is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder. WRAL's Ken Smith has been monitoring this case. He joins us now. Ken, what more are we learning about what happened here?
Wait in, Chris. Spaulding was taken into custody last night around 10:30. It comes after the shooting happened early Sunday morning. Robeson County Sheriff Bernice Williams says a short standoff with Spaulding happened at an apartment complex in Red Springs before the arrest. Among the 3 murder charges he's facing, Spaulding is also charged with robbery with a dangerous weapon, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and other charges. The 3 victims identified as 28-year-old Tristan Goins, 51-year-old Howard Jones, and 35-year-old Ashley Jacobs. All 3 bodies were found on a property on Melinda Road near Pembroke shortly after 6:30 yesterday morning. Now, Sheriff Wilkins releasing a statement in the case, writing in part, unfortunately, this case is yet another example of a pattern we continue to see. Drugs playing a major role in violent crime within our county. The destruction caused by illegal narcotics continues to impact families and communities across Robeson County, and we will not let up in our efforts to combat it. As for Spaulding, he's being held in the Robeson County Detention Center without bond. The State Bureau of Investigation is helping with this case.
And I'm Laura Levine here in the WRAL Live Center this noon, staying on top of that tragic situation at LaGuardia Airport. Right now, we have new aerials of the airport. As we know, the airport is closed, but we got an update from the executive director, Catherine Garcia, in a most recent news conference stating that 2 p.m. is actually the earliest that the airport will open. We're also hearing from Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, saying that Canadian officials are working with U.S. officials on this investigation as well. Here's NBC's Sam Brock with the latest.
This morning, a jarring and fatal collision at New York's LaGuardia Airport. The front of an Air Canada regional jet mangled. The plane tilted up after it crashed with a Port Authority fire truck upon landing Sunday night just before 11:40 p.m., killing the pilot and co-pilot.
Initial numbers indicate that 41 passengers and crew were transported to the hospital. We understand that 32 have been released, but there are also serious injuries. Sadly, the 2 pilots are confirmed deceased, and notifications are being made by Air Canada's care team at this time.
Air traffic controllers appearing to give a Truck 1 clearance to go.
Truck 1 and company, LaGuardia Tower requesting to cross 4 at Delta. Truck 1 and company, cross 4 at Delta. Truck 1 and company crossing 4 at Delta.
Before then issuing this command.
Stop, 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 Truck 1, stop, stop, stop.
Emergency crews swarming to the scene, helping passengers evacuate the damaged jet. The aircraft, operated by Air Canada's regional partner Jazz Aviation, flying from Montreal, was carrying 4 crew members and 72 passengers, including 1 unaccompanied minor. Authorities say the plane struck a vehicle headed to provide support to another plane. The major national airport temporarily shut down.
There's been an incident on the field. The airport's closed right now.
As several agencies now investigate how the runway crash could have happened.
This is a very rare occurrence. Rarely do you see airplanes collide with vehicles during the landing rollout. These ground vehicles have lights on them. They're listening to the control tower. They're getting permission to cross the runway.
ICE agents have been arriving at airports across the country, and this is happening as part of President Donald Trump's move to send these agents to assist TSA workers. Ahead at 12:30, the airport's affected and what we've learned about RDU in all of this.
The stage is set for a high-stakes second recount in a tight Republican primary. Today, election officials rolled the dice to decide which precincts' ballots will be used in what's called a hand-eye recount for Senate Leader Phil Berger's seat. Berger trails Rockingham County Sheriff Sam Page by 23 votes. Now, about 2,000 ballots will be reviewed by hand. And if enough errors are found, it could trigger a full district-wide recount. A machine recount last week showed no change in that 23-vote difference. We dig even deeper into this race on our WRAL YouTube page. You can find the candidates' legal options, statements from both of them, and the questions being raised about this election's authenticity. Next at noon, straight strikes standstill. Why President Donald Trump extended his ultimatum for targeting Iran's power plants and what it could mean for the war as a whole.
Plus, new scam. Who dis? Five on Your Side explains how scammers are trying to use fake consumer alerts to steal your info via text message and how you can protect your data.
Forest Bath and Beyond, how people are diving into a nature wellness trend, including here in Raleigh.
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
President Trump has extended the deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. He says the U.S. and Iran have had productive conversations regarding a resolution to the war over the past few days, and now is giving them 5 days to reopen the crucial waterway. Richard Engel has more.
Israel didn't wait for President Trump's deadline, launching this morning what the Israeli military called a wide-scale wave of strikes targeting Iranian terror regime infrastructure in Tehran. Israel's impatience may have come from this. Whoa! 2 Iranian missiles slipped through Israeli air defenses Saturday, exploding into buildings, wounding more than 100 people. The locations are significant and sensitive, Arad and Dimona. Both are near facilities linked to Israel's unacknowledged but widely known nuclear weapons program. Iran hit them after Israel and the United States targeted Natanz, an Iranian nuclear site. And now this dangerous game of tit for tat appears to be escalating further. On Saturday, President Trump posting a deadline. If Iran doesn't fully open without threat the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours from this exact point in time, the United States of America will hit and obliterate their various power plants, starting with the biggest one first. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on Sunday's Meet the Press.
Just to put a fine point on this, though, is the president in the process of winding down this war or escalating the conflict?
Again, they're not mutually exclusive. Sometimes you have to escalate to de-escalate.
Iran isn't blinking. This morning saying if power plants are attacked, Iran will, in a retaliatory action, target the power plants of the occupying regime and the power plants of regional countries.
And according to AAA, gas prices hit the highest average since August of 2022. Nationwide, a gallon of gas is $3.96 on average. Here in Raleigh, it's averaging $3.76 a gallon. That is up $1 from a month ago. In Fayetteville, it's $3.68 a gallon, and in Rocky Mount, $3.72. You can find the lowest gas prices where you are with the WRAL Fuel Tracker. Just open the app and search fuel.
A new legal battle in the Supreme Court is targeting mail-in ballot rules. Today, the justices will hear arguments about the federal legalities of mail-in ballots, particularly the practice by some states of counting ballots arriving at election offices after Election Day. President Donald Trump is pushing the justices to limit the mail-in system. However, some voting groups say states have the flexibility in whether to embrace the ballots and how to regulate them. The court is expected to make a final decision by the start of the summer. And President Trump is also trying to get the Save America Act passed as part of a deal to end the partial government shutdown. This is that bill that would tighten federal voting requirements, and that includes requiring proof of citizenship for voter registration, photo ID to vote, and restrictions on mail-in voting. President Trump says that he won't make a deal on DHA's funding until Democrats agree to back that bill.
The U.S. Senate is one step closer to confirming Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin for Homeland Security Secretary. And a final vote could come as early as today. Last night, the Senate voted to limit debate on appointment, setting things up for a confirmation vote. If approved, Mullin would be replacing Secretary Kristi Noem. She was fired by President Donald Trump earlier this month. Mullin is a member of the Cherokee Nation, and if confirmed, he would be the second Native American to serve as a cabinet member. Many living in Hawaii are without homes and without power after a heavy rain battered parts of the island. Leaders are calling this Hawaii's worst flooding in more than 20 years. Floodwaters submerged cars and homes and caused an estimated $1 billion in damage. National Guard troops are on the ground there helping in recovery efforts. Luckily, no deaths have been reported. The weather story here for us today, the pollen.
Well, and as you got your day started, right, you likely noticed casts of yellow in the sky, yellow on your cars, and yellow on the ground. Gross. All right, so check out these videos from right here in the WRAL parking lot. You can see how much pollen is on cars and the ground, and many of us are already feeling it with itchy, watery eyes, and even sneezing. So tonight at 6:15, meteorologist Kat Campbell has a look at the spring pollen forecast and explains why experts say it could even get worse, Renee.
It'd be nice to get some rain to wash that pollen away, rinse and repeat for a while. We're in for several weeks of this, I know, Elizabeth. But right now, we're enjoying some very comfortable temperatures, aren't we?
We definitely are. It feels really good out here right now. Temperatures are in the 70s. Yesterday, our high was 89. We've had a number of days with highs in the 80s so far this March. So I'm a little surprised that the pine pollen didn't really take off until this weekend. It was very warm, of course, yesterday at 89. So I really think that was the day that it just whoosh, here it is. And so for the first time that I can remember seeing this spring, it's up to very high for trees. An interesting thing. So the yellow pollen that you see comes from pine trees, and it actually isn't an allergen, but the birch, the oak, the maple, all of the other trees, especially oak, are the ones that cause the allergies. So just a little tidbit. It's messy. You know, everybody hates it. That yellow pine pollen is messy, but it's some of the other trees that actually make you sneeze and feel not so great. This is a look at an average pollen year, not necessarily this year. It ramps up slowly through March, and then around the 1st of April, it peaks, and then it drops off by May. And we're actually not too far from that. We're at the end of March, and it's now just kind of starting to ramp up. So as we talked about, as Renee said just a few minutes ago, and Chris, Kat's going to talk more in our 6 o'clock newscast about how our weather this season may affect the rest of the pollen season. It's definitely been, we've had some warm temperatures. It's going to be another warm afternoon for us. And then a front will bring us the potential for some patchy frost on Wednesday and on Sunday morning. And here's that front right now. It was pretty active overnight last night, a little closer to the Great Lakes. But as it's dropped southward across our area, you can see it has really just fizzled out. I mean, it's not even completely cloudy as that front is crossing our area. And our wind has already shifted to northeast, so we know that the wind shift of the front has already moved through. We'll continue to clear through the afternoon, and if there's any rain with this, it's likely to be much closer to the coast. You can see, again, 5 o'clock maybe between Goldsboro and Clinton and eastward, but our chances even there are really, really slim. So we're not going to see much rain with this, so we could use the rain. People are wandering around in the gardens for the first time. They're all way back there where some of the azaleas are blooming. Last week I was looking around, I didn't see any, and of course I think really all that warmth that we saw over the weekend, gave the azaleas the big bump too. So they're starting to bloom. Come on out. You're welcome to come to WRAL anytime during daylight hours to look at the pretty flowers. 78 is our current temperature, so it is warm out here. It's a little breezy. Our winds are gusting up to around 15, 16 miles per hour, 17 in Fayetteville, 18 in Rocky Mount. The gusts are on the right and the steady winds are on the left. Temperatures really all across our area are upper 70s to around 80. It's 80 in Holly Springs, at Apex, 77 in Wake Forest and in Durham. It will remain breezy breezy as we head through the afternoon. And of course, that's due to the front. That wind that's coming out of the northeast will help to cool us off. It also increases our fire danger from the Triangle area westward. It's the wind gusts and the low humidity that bring us that fire threat. So you just want to make sure that you put off any outdoor burning. This afternoon, upper 70s to low and mid 80s. And then we're on a roller coaster ride. We drop into the 30s for tomorrow morning and only 59 for the high, 20 degrees colder for our high in the afternoon. And then a couple more days, Wednesday morning and then Sunday morning, that chance of some freezing temperatures. We may have some rain into the weekend. We'll check that out coming up.
That sounds good, Elizabeth. Criticizing rate hikes. Rocky Mount residents are voicing their concerns over a proposed 15% utility rate increase. Coming up at 4, we hear more of their concerns.
And then on our news at 5, deadline passed. Friday was the deadline for FEMA to update North Carolina on its Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities project after it canceled grants. Where the process stands and what steps need to be taken to restore funding. Scammers are hoping recall alerts will get your attention.
5 on your side's Ashley Rose shares the ways that you can protect yourself in the event you're targeted.
Like many of us, Taylor Frost Smith spends a fair amount of time scrolling and shopping.
I frequently am buying all different kinds of things at all hours of the night. Having 3 little kids, I love Amazon.
For Taylor, safety is top of mind. She notices when there's a recall.
I also am very diligent to register my products because if there is a recall, I really want to know about it.
That's why she did a double take when she got this text. It says it's an Amazon product recall notice. Something she bought in December is under recall. Click the link to review the details and refund options. Taylor says something seemed fishy.
The first thing I noticed is that it's only to 18 people from Amazon. And I started thinking, what is this?
She went to her Amazon app, plugged in that order number, and asked Rufus, Amazon's AI tool, if there's a recall. Amazon confirmed no recall and told her it's a phishing text scam. So what's in this for scammers? They hope you'll click the link and enter personal information, which they can steal and sell on the dark web.
If you get this text or something similar, don't respond or click any links. You should always go to the app or website where you got the product and see if there's news about a recall.
You can also check for recalls at recalls.gov or the CPSC, that's the Consumer Product Safety Commission.gov. If you've registered the product, you should get an email or letter in the mail with instructions on what to do.
Checking the app, I think, is really what saved me. So double check.
CR reviewed and worked with some of the biggest digital marketplaces to help ensure that they provide critical information, including recall information to consumers. Amazon, like many online marketplaces, has a page listing the latest recalls and product safety alerts. Ashley Rowe, 5 on your side.
You know, Easter is 2 Sundays from now, and prices for chocolate eggs and those bunnies you like, they are going up.
A new report says retail prices for Easter chocolate is staying high despite the price of cocoa beans going down. Industry leaders say it's because most Easter chocolates were made when cocoa was expensive. They predict prices might go down around Halloween time this year. Well, still to come, following the money, North Carolina's top prosecutors taking on the fentanyl crisis in a different way. Coming up, what the Attorney General is announcing today and how it involves a Chinese messaging app.
Plus, growing farm concerns. North Carolina farmers are facing higher gas prices because of the war in Iran. How that, including the cost of diesel, is affecting local businesses. And we do have a look at your winning NC Education Lottery numbers right here on your screen.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
North Carolina's top prosecutor is asking the president for help.
North Carolina State Attorney General Jeff Jackson wants President Donald Trump to pick up his investigation into the funding behind the fentanyl crisis, and he also wants the president to negotiate a change with China. WRAL's Megan Clordy is live at the North Carolina Department of Justice for this story. Megan, Jackson says that millions of dollars are flowing through Chinese apps to pay for fentanyl in the United States.
Chris, Attorney General Jeff Jackson said it's $100 million a week going through this one Chinese app. And he does not now have the jurisdiction to go after them because they operate in China. So he's asking the president of the United States to add it to the negotiations that is ongoing with China right now and to do something about this. Earlier this morning, Jeff Jackson had a press conference in Charlotte alongside his South Carolinian counterpart to announce his request to the president. A year ago, Jackson announced a bipartisan effort, along with attorneys general across the country, to follow the money and determine what sources were being illegally used to prop up the fentanyl epidemic. He says they got WeChat, a Chinese app that operates internationally, to come to the table. WeChat agreed to improve how quickly it responds to investigators. It also agreed to be more proactive in making encrypted spaces on its app more hostile to fentanyl money laundering. But Jackson says the problem is the company that owns WeChat also owns its sister app called Weixin, and that is not subject to U.S. laws.
To register for use of Weixin, you need a phone number from mainland China, but you don't need to be in mainland China to use the app. This is why it has been able to be used so effectively and insidiously for the money laundering of fentanyl proceeds.
And Jackson says because Weixin does not operate internationally, he doesn't have the jurisdiction to go after it. So he's asking the president to do that. And he wants to see President Trump make this a national priority, spearheading the effort from here outside of this office behind me in Raleigh. He said it's likely going to be a while before we see any movement on this, but that it's an important step in the fight against the fentanyl crisis here in the U.S. Live in Raleigh, Megan Cloherty, WRAL News.
Happening now here in the WRAL Live Center. We now know the name and age of that teenager who was shot and killed in a southeast Raleigh neighborhood. Take a look here. This is 15-year-old Caden Alston Arnold from GoFundMe. His mom now raising funds for his funeral and homegoing services. She says in a very heartbreaking statement, at just 15 years old, he loved playing football and basketball, and he was always eager to learn new things. Caden was my firstborn and a loving brother to his two sisters. His smile could light up any room, and his kindness touched everyone who knew him. She says that she never imagined that she would have to plan his funeral service so early. This is a look at that scene, meanwhile, from that investigation that happened on Friday on, of course, Springshire Court. A juvenile is now in custody related to the shooting, but the investigation is ongoing.
Just 15 years old, so heartbreaking. Happening today, ICE agents are being sent to airports across the country to help with security lines. Passengers are facing long lines at the TSA checkpoint because TSA agents are calling out. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey explains.
Starting today, ICE agents will be sent out to major airports across the country to help with those long TSA lines. Now, we're not seeing too much activity here in the TSA line at RDU. The Department of Homeland Security says that RDU is not on the list of airports to get support from ICE. But Hartsfield-Jackson in Atlanta is. Check out this video of long TSA lines at that airport over the weekend. Some passengers say wait times were more than 2 hours. More than 400 TSA agents have quit since the start of the partial government shutdown last month. This is the third time in 6 months TSA agents have gone without pay, according to DHS. Tara Madden arrived to RDU at 4:30 this morning for her 7 a.m. flight, just in case the security line was long.
I figured it would be busy, and it does look a lot busier than it normally does this time of the day. But again, just figure if I'm early enough, be patient, let the folks do their job. I really feel for them. I can't even imagine being in their position.
So the line was a little bit longer just before 5 o'clock this morning whenever we interviewed Tara. RDU officials, we reached out to them to ask about if they were anticipating any delays with these security lines. They did not confirm that. They just recommended that people arrive to the airport 2 hours before their flight. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News at RDU.
You know, the rising cost of fuel is weighing heavily on farmers right here in our state and across the country. From running farm equipment to transporting produce, farmers rely on diesel fuel to make a living. We spoke with farmers at the State Farmers Market about this, and we asked them how would they be able to sustain their business at the farmers market if oil prices continue to soar. They say rising prices are forcing some tough decisions right now.
You cut back on other things if you want to continue doing this.
I've seen diesel very high, much higher than what it is right now. So, I've made it through all the years. We're trying to hold the prices down to what they've been for the last year or two, and it's difficult.
You saw right there in that video, $5 a gallon. The war in Iran has also caused fertilizer prices to soar. In the United States, nitrogen fertilizer increased more than 30% since the Strait of Hormuz closed.
Now to the NCAA tournament. UNC and Duke women's teams are moving on to the Sweet 16. The Tar Heels beat Maryland yesterday to punch their second straight ticket to the Sweet 16. UNC will play the winner of tonight's game between UConn and Syracuse, and Carolina will play on either Friday or Saturday. The Duke women will play LSU after beating Baylor yesterday. This is the Blue Devils' third straight appearance in the Sweet 16. That game will be on Friday. NC State was eliminated yesterday after losing to Michigan 92-63. Duke is the only men's team from the Triangle still playing, and now we know who their Sweet 16 opponent will be. St. John's advanced to the Sweet 16 yesterday, beating Kansas on a buzzer beater. Duke will play St. John's on Friday night in Washington, D.C.
A new traffic safety upgrade is going to be made near NC State University, and this is happening at the intersection of Gorman Street, Jackson Street, and Wolf Village Way. Teams are installing a concrete median, a traffic island, new accessible curb ramps, and more here, and the work is expected to be finished this week. Today, Wendell's Board of Commissioners will consider pausing data center development in that town. They're holding a public hearing about this tonight at their commissioners meeting. Tonight's meeting starts at 7 o'clock if you do want to go by and be a part of that conversation. Next in this noon hour of news, taking action. We're talking about groups that have filed a lawsuit against President Donald Trump over the new Kennedy Center project and temporary closure. What they argue should be done instead.
Relaxing and unwinding. There's a new trend right here in Raleigh that can help you reduce stress. Next, where and how you can take part. For news, traffic, and the weather of the day, make sure to download the WRAL News app.
Top architectural and historic preservation groups are suing the Trump administration over plans to temporarily close and renovate the Kennedy Center. That new lawsuit asks a federal judge to stop that project indefinitely. It comes days after the Art Center's Board of Trustees approved plans for that 2-year closure, and that would go into effect in July if it holds. A new report shows J.P. Morgan is now monitoring bankers' hours. This will impact junior bankers for that company. The tracking is reportedly being done to see if employees underreport how much time they actually work. Right now, junior banking hours are capped around 80 hours a week, and this is all happening after a former Bank of America employee who logged 16-hour workdays died of a heart attack in 2024.
New reports say OpenAI will nearly double its workforce by the end of this year. The report says the company will hike its workforce to 8,000. Right now, it had over 4,000 employees. Now, the roles will include product development, engineering, and research and sales. The report, OpenAI is likely seeking to stop momentum of competitors such as Anthropic, which has gained ground against OpenAI for business customers, as well as Google's rising AI ventures. Still to come, recall alert. A brand of alcohol pads is being pulled nationwide. The dangerous health leaders say they could cause and what to do if you have these.
Plus, a new way to decompress. How one Raleigh group is helping people participate in a new trend to unwind and relax.
A new study finds that high blood pressure related deaths are surging among young women. Those rates have climbed 4 times the amount compared to over 2 decades ago. Roughly 5 out of 100,000 deaths were found among women ages 25 to 44 years old in 2023. That is up from 1999, when nearly 1 in 100,000 young women died from the same cause. More than 170 million medical alcohol pads are being recalled due to possible microbial contamination. The FDA says 2-ply wipes have the brand name Webcol and contain 70% isopropyl alcohol. They were made by Cardinal Health and distributed nationwide. Customers are urged to throw the wipes away or return them for a refund. Details can be found on the FDA's website.
Sometimes, especially during a hectic day, you might need to just pause and then reset. Many people are choosing to do that outside right now. They're participating in a growing trend called forest bathing. Ted Linder shows us how a group here in Raleigh is playing a big part in that.
With the weather warming up, more people are flocking to the outdoors.
When I'm here, it's almost like a protective bubble around me. It provides a shield.
And a growing number are turning to a trend called forest bathing. While it's not an actual bath, the act is based on a Japanese wellness practice where people immerse themselves in nature and engage all their senses to connect with the environment around them.
So forest therapy at its core is really a nature-based mindfulness activity. So it's actually a lovely way for people to reconnect with nature, to reconnect with aspects of themselves.
Unlike a hike up a mountain, forest bathing is more about relaxing and being present in the moment. Trained forest therapy guides can lead groups like this one in Raleigh, North Carolina, through breathing exercises and help them center their focus.
Really focusing on your breath, on your footsteps, all the natural sounds around you.
Forest bathing is known to not only reduce stress and elevate moods.
I think it's important for people to take the opportunity to exist in natural space.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines that we're following today.
A busy Raleigh intersection is still closed after police say a truck hit a woman jogging. The crash happened just after 9 a.m. at Garner Road and East Tryon Road. First responders pulled the woman from beneath the pickup truck that hit her. It is unclear how she's doing now. No word yet on if the driver will face charges.
Well, the future of UNC basketball is being closely looked at. Following the Tar Heels' disappointing early exit from the NCAA tournament, head coach Hubert Davis has been on the hot seat there, raising questions about whether he should be fired. Davis's weekly radio show scheduled for tonight has been postponed. He still has 4 years left on his contract, and we'll, of course, bring you updates as you learn more about this.
The stage is set for a high-stakes second recount in a tight Republican primary. Today, election officials rolled the dice to decide which precinct's ballots will be used in what's called a hand-eye recount for Senate Leader Phil Berger's seat. Berger trails Rockingham County Sheriff Sam Page by 23 votes. Now, about 2,000 ballots will be reviewed by hand. And if enough errors are found, it could trigger a full district-wide recount. A machine recount last week showed no change.
All right, the K-pop group BTS is setting records after releasing their first album in about 4 years' time.
The album is called Arirang, and it is now Spotify's most streamed album in a single day for this year. It has over 110 million streams in a day worldwide. BTS is also Spotify's most streamed K-pop album ever. BTS reformed after all 7 members finished their mandatory military service in South Korea. They are also launching a global tour that starts next month.
Yeah, you added the so far there because someone else could pop something even more popular. Who knows? All right, so SNL UK is available to stream in the U.S. now after debuting over the weekend. If you want to see it, you can watch the first episode on Peacock. That first episode was hosted by SNL US legend Tina Fey. The debut reportedly drew in nearly 230,000 viewers.
You now have a chance to own the Pollen Park train. This week, the city of Raleigh declared the train, just the engine, not the passenger cars, would be put up for auction after years of service. The propane-powered model is being replaced with a new electric engine. This is part of the ongoing Pollen Park upgrades. No word yet on when the auction will be held or how much it could cost.
And that brings us to today's pet of the day. Meet Irvin. He is a 7-month-old black and white tuxedo cat. Irvin was found as a stray in Harnett County. And if by chance you want to, of course, adopt this, Safe Haven for Cats, their number on the screen right there, 919-872-7233.
Rules ruffling feathers. Residents pushed back. Now Johnston County is changing its draft rules on farm animals. Coming up on WRAL News at 4. Find out what's been scrapped and how you can still make your voice heard. NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
And as always, you can get your breaking news updates and, of course, your latest weather reports with our WRAL News app. Hope you have a blessed day today.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.